You know that moment when you walk into a room and the air changes? When a single glance from that person sends your nervous system into overdrive, not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. Twin flame connections are built on this paradox. The most profound love often expresses itself most powerfully through silence, distance, and the unbearable weight of things left unsaid. This isn't your average breakup, radio silence, or some casual ghosting situation. We're talking about two souls who can feel each other across continents, who wake at 3 a.m. gasping from shared dreams, yet somehow can't seem to string together a simple "How was your day?" text thread. It defies logic. It mocks conventional relationship advice. And yet, if you've lived it, you know this dance of avoidance isn't about lack of love. If anything, it's proof of love so vast it terrifies the human parts of you into retreat. What really happens in these charged spaces between words? Why do twin flames, who allegedly share one consciousness split across two bodies, so often become strangers in the exact moment they recognize each other? The answers live in the shadowlands of psychology and spirituality, where fear and destiny wrestle for dominance. This isn't a love story. It's an alchemical experiment where the ingredients are your deepest wounds and wildest ecstasies. The silence isn't emptiness. It's the echo chamber where you finally hear your own soul speaking. And whether that terrifies or liberates you right now tells you exactly where you are in the journey. So let's unravel why the purest connections often wear the disguise of absence, and how to stop mistaking the sacred pause for rejection. Your twin flame isn't ignoring you. They're giving you the exact conditions your soul needs to remember itself. The question is, are you listening to the silence or just waiting for it to end? You ever stand at the edge of a cliff, heart pounding, toes curling over the abyss, and think, one step forward, and I'm either flying or falling? That's the exact moment a twin flame freezes mid-conversation. Not because they don't love, not because they don't want to speak, but because looking into their twin's eyes feels like staring into a mirror that shows every crack, every shadow, every unhealed wound they've spent years, maybe lifetimes, trying to outrun. You see, love isn't supposed to feel like an existential crisis, but twin flame love, oh, it laughs in the face of supposed to. It's not just romance, it's a spiritual demolition crew, here to tear down every wall you've ever built, whether you gave them permission or not. And what's the first thing humans do when something gets too real? We ghost. We deflect. We invent elaborate reasons why now isn't the right time to say, I feel you in my bones, and it scares me senseless. Imagine you've spent your whole life convinced you're a sunflower, bright, uncomplicated, always turning toward the light. Then your twin flame walks in and without a word holds up a mirror. Except the reflection isn't just a flower. It's the roots, the dirt, the gnawing insects under the soil, the parts you've ignored, the parts you hate. That's the twin flame mirror, merciless, illuminating, and utterly inescapable. And here's the kicker. You do the same for them. You reflect their hidden fears, their secret shames, the childhood wounds they swore they'd buried. No wonder they flinch. No wonder you flinch. It's not rejection, it's recognition. And recognition, my friend, is a brutal kind of intimacy. Ever watched a cat see its own reflection for the first time? Hissing, puffing up, backing away like it's facing a mortal enemy. That's the twin flame runner in a nutshell. They'll craft flawless excuses. Timing's off. They're too intense. I need to focus on my career. But strip away the rationalizations, and it's just fear wearing a three-piece suit. Meanwhile, the chaser is left shouting into the void. If you love me, why won't you just talk to me? But here's the thing. Love isn't the issue. It's the surrender that terrifies them. To speak openly means to admit, you see me clearer than I see myself, and I don't know who I'll be on the other side of this conversation. Sometimes, the silence isn't avoidance, it's digestion. Think of it like eating the most potent meal of your life. You can't just inhale it and sprint off. You need to sit there, maybe groan a little, let your soul metabolize the enormity of what just happened. Twin flames often retreat because the energy between them isn't just emotional, it's alchemical. Too much too soon, and the whole thing blows up like a chemistry experiment gone wrong. So yeah, they vanish. They need to recalibrate, to remember how to breathe without feeling like their ribs are cracking open. It's not cruelty, it's self-preservation. Here's the cosmic joke. The very thing they're afraid of, being fully seen, is the only thing that'll ever set them free. The love is there. The words are there. But first, they've got to stop treating vulnerability like a live grenade. So if you're the one waiting in silence, wondering why they won't just talk, breathe. This isn't a failure. It's the universe's way of saying, they're not running from you. They're running from what you make them feel. And darling, that's a revolution they've got to choose for themselves. You ever meet someone and within 5 minutes, you're weirdly defensive? Like they haven't even done anything, but suddenly you're a porcupine with trust issues, spines out, ready to sabotage something beautiful before it even begins? Congratulations, you've just bumped into a karmic landmine. And in twin flame connections, those things are buried everywhere. This isn't just baggage, this is ancient baggage, the kind that makes airport carousels groan under the weight. Past life betrayals, childhood abandonment wounds, generational curses. Your subconscious remembers all of it, even if you don't. And when your twin flame shows up, it's like your soul hits play on every unresolved trauma reel at once. Cue the dramatic exit stage left. Imagine your psyche is a haunted house. Most people wander through the nicely lit rooms, the I'm fine parlor, the trust isn't an issue dining room. But twin flames? Oh, they go straight to the boarded up basement where you've locked away the screaming banshees of your past. And they knock. That's why you panic when they get too close. It's not them you're afraid of. It's the flood of old pain their presence threatens to unleash. Maybe last time you loved this deeply, you were left at the altar in 1842. Maybe your inner child still thinks love equals danger because dad left and never came back. Whatever it is, your nervous system screams, abort mission, and suddenly you're inventing reasons why texting back is definitely a bad idea. Here's the brutal truth. Twin flames don't trigger you to torture you. They trigger you because you're finally ready to heal. It's like spiritual surgery. Yes, it'll hurt like hell when they slice open that festering wound, but not dealing with it is what's been poisoning you all along. Problem is, most of us would rather limp through life with a broken leg than endure the agony of letting it reset properly. So we ice out the one person who could help us walk again. Irony, thy name is twin flame. Ever notice how twin flames can go months without speaking, yet the second they reconnect, it's like no time passed? That's because the real conversation never stops. It's all happening underground, in the realm of energy and archetypes, and soul-level pacts you don't even remember signing. Maybe you're both subconsciously reenacting a dynamic where one always flees and the other always waits. Maybe you agreed before this lifetime that separation would be the catalyst for your growth. The universe doesn't care about your Instagram DMs. It cares about your expansion, and sometimes that requires radio silence until you've dug up the roots of your resistance. So if you're staring at your phone, willing them to just communicate already, here's a radical thought. What if the silence is the communication? What if every unanswered text is the universe whispering, "Hey genius, stop obsessing over their words and start listening to your own trembling hands"? Why does this hurt so much? Where else in your life have you felt this before? The karmic knots won't untie themselves. But here's the secret. Your twin flame's avoidance isn't rejection. It's an invitation to dive into the dark places, to finally face what you've been running from, to realize the love you crave out there can only take root when you stop abandoning yourself in here. Now, who's ready to stop blaming the silence and start decoding it? Picture this. You're at the most epic buffet of your life. Every dish is your favorite. The champagne flows endlessly, and the dessert table looks like heaven's waiting room. But instead of diving in, you're standing there paralyzed, muttering, "This is too good." What's the catch? That, my friend, is your ego's reaction to a twin flame connection. A feast of love so abundant, your inner skeptic starts drafting conspiracy theories. The ego hates twin flame love because it defies every survival instinct. Real intimacy, terrifying, unconditional acceptance, suspicious, a bond that doesn't require performance or masks, absolutely unacceptable. So it does what any cornered animal would do. It fights dirty. Your ego's job is to keep you safe, which in its twisted logic means keeping you small. It would rather you stay in a predictable, lukewarm situationship than risk the tectonic shift of a twin flame union. Why? Because control is its oxygen. And twin flames? They're a Category 5 hurricane to your ego's flimsy sandcastle. Ever notice how you can effortlessly be yourself with strangers, but the moment your twin flame looks at you, you're suddenly aware of your own breathing? That's the ego short-circuiting. It's used to curating a persona, but your twin sees straight through the performance. No filters, no facades, just the raw, unedited you. And nothing scares the ego more than exposure. Here's where it gets ironic. Twin flames often mirror each other's egos like warring monarchs. One plays the aloof ruler, I don't need anyone. The other, the desperate subject, notice me. But flip the roles, and suddenly the chaser becomes the runner. The needy one plays hard to get. It's a dance of resistance, a silent tug of war where both sides are terrified to drop the rope. Why? Because surrender means admitting defeat, not to each other, but to the ego. And the ego would rather burn the whole thing down than admit maybe love doesn't have to be a battlefield. Let's call out the elephant in the room. Some twin flames hide behind spiritual excuses to avoid facing their egos. We're not ready. The universe will bring us together when it's time. Meanwhile, the universe is side-eyeing them like, I gave you free will for a reason, Susan. Yes, divine timing exists, but so does self-sabotage, and the ego loves dressing avoidance up as alignment. The truth? If you're using spirituality to justify fear, you're not evolving. You're evading. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The love is already there. The connection is unbroken. The only thing standing in the way is the part of you that refuses to trust. Not your twin, but life itself. So the next time you feel that familiar resistance rise up, the urge to pick a fight, ghost, or convince yourself it's too intense, ask yourself, is this fear or is this love pretending to be fear? Because the ego's greatest trick is making you believe you're protecting yourself, when really you're just postponing your own freedom. The choice is yours. Clutch the illusion of control or let go and discover what happens when love wins. And if you're still hesitating, ask yourself, what's scarier, the risk of being hurt or the regret of never trying? You ever try to microwave a frozen burrito for 30 seconds when the package clearly says 2 minutes? Of course you have. And what happened? Cold in the middle, lava hot on the edges, a culinary disaster. Now imagine your twin flame journey is that burrito, and the universe is the stubborn microwave insisting, no, you will wait the full 2 minutes. Frustrating? Absolutely. Necessary? Unfortunately, yes. This is the maddening magic of divine timing, the universe's way of saying, I know you think you're ready, but trust me, you're still half-baked. And just like that microwave, it refuses to be rushed. Let's get real. If twin flames came together the moment they recognized each other, it would be like two toddlers trying to pilot a fighter jet. Sure, the desire is there, but the skill, the emotional regulation, the ability not to crash and burn at the first turbulence? Not so much. Divine timing isn't about punishment. It's about preparation. It's the universe forcing you to sit through the soul's equivalent of driver's ed before handing you the keys to a connection this powerful. Because without the lessons, the healing, the unfucking of your own baggage, you'd just repeat the same toxic patterns and call it passion. Ever notice how twin flames often circle back to each other in the weirdest ways? A song pops up on shuffle at the perfect moment. A mutual friend randomly mentions their name. You dream about them the night before they text after months of silence. These aren't coincidences, they're cosmic breadcrumbs, little winks from the universe saying, stay patient. The script is already written. But here's the kicker. You're not just waiting on the universe, you're waiting for yourself. every delay, every detour is giving you time to grow into the person who can actually sustain this love. Because the truth, the reunion isn't the hard part. Staying together is. This is where most twin flames get stuck, in the exhausting limbo between I trust the process and but why is it taking so long? You want to believe in divine timing, but your human heart is tired of waiting. So how do you bridge the gap? You get comfortable with the paradox. Hold the vision, but release the obsession. Keep the faith, but live your damn life. Love them, but love yourself more. It's not passive waiting, it's active trust. Like planting a seed and resisting the urge to dig it up every day to check for roots. The silence, the distance, the not yet, it's not a test of your love. It's a test of your growth. Every day apart is another chance to choose yourself, heal your wounds, and become someone who doesn't need this love to be whole, but gets to enjoy it because you're whole. So the next time you're tempted to rage at the universe's slow motion love story, remember the best things in life, fine wine, sourdough starters, and twin flame unions can't be rushed. And when it's finally time, oh, you'll know. Until then, keep the faith, and maybe invest in a better microwave. So here you are, standing in the echo chamber of what feels like abandonment, heart pounding out Morse code against your ribs. Why won't they just talk to me? But what if this silence isn't a void to fill, but a sacred space to feel? Imagine a composer who writes symphonies in the spaces between notes, or a painter who understands shadows carve light into meaning. Your twin flame's silence operates on that same divine paradox. Sometimes the deepest connections are forged in the absence of sound. This isn't about romanticizing pain, it's about recognizing that love, real, tectonic, soul-rearranging love, doesn't always wear the costume you expect. It might show up as the text they didn't send because they knew it would derail your healing, the distance they did keep so you'd finally turn inward and parent your own wounds, the reunion they delayed because you both needed to outgrow the versions of yourselves that would have screwed it up the first time. Funny how the universe protects you even when it feels like punishment. Consider this. All great transformations require a liminal space, that disorienting threshold where the old self dissolves before the new one emerges. Butterflies don't apologize for the chaos of metamorphosis. Galaxies don't rush their collisions. Your twin flame separation, it's not a breakdown. It's the cosmic equivalent of that breath a diver takes before plunging into depths they've only imagined. The silence isn't empty. It's charged. And you, yes, you, with your hands clutching the edge of the universe, demanding answers, are being asked to do the most counterintuitive thing. Trust the mystery, not with blind faith, but with the quiet certainty of a seed buried in winter. It knows spring isn't a maybe, it's a when. Here's a secret they don't tell you about twin flames. The connection isn't fragile. You could drop it from a 10-story building, bury it in the desert for decades, douse it in gasoline, and light a match. It would still flicker in the ashes. That's why the silence doesn't scare it. That's why time doesn't erode it. This isn't the love you lose, it's the love you become. So the next time you're tempted to mistake stillness for abandonment, remember, some conversations happen in glances. Some healings require distance. Some reunions need you to stop counting days and start living them. Your twin flame isn't gone. They're rearranging the universe to meet you where you're both finally ready. Close your eyes. Breathe. There's a future where this ache makes sense, where you'll trace the contours of this silence like a map that led you home. Until then, let your heart be a compass, not a stopwatch. Love this big wasn't meant to be rushed. It was meant to ruin and rebuild you. And darling, it's working. Now, go live like someone who already knows how the story ends. It's better than you think.